paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
It's always the quirked up white boy. You never expect it. It's always the quiet guy who goes over there. He sits next to the girl. He goes, here's the thing. I'm pretty awkward, but you're so beautiful. That dude always gets the girl. You know why?
He's not a get the girl guy, though. But oh my God.
That's what he wants you to think.
The world's topsy-turvy, Corbin. You never what you expect. When you watched King of the Hill, did you think Boomhauer would be the one to get the girl? Goddamn man, talking about picking up chicks at bar, man. You know, goddamn man, with quiet, man.
I've been talking Boomhauer to me today, and I haven't left my house.
Welcome to Brainstorm Brewery, everybody.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. We've got some magic to talk about, probably some other stuff as well. My video's starting now because JJ got all of that on the background recording because that's what we do here. So we're going to talk about magic. We've got a lot to talk about because all of us have been personally very busy. Cass has been hitting up the Pokemon shows and the Pokemon Chase market because, as we've been talking about, Pokemon's going crazy. But that's not where we're going to start, of course. We're going to start sort of where this podcast began, in a way.
All right, do you have a deck brew to share with us?
No. Farther back. The true origins of Brainstorm Brewery trace not to a concept, but likely to a location.
A bar?
What are you talking about?
Buffalo
Opium Den.
Wild Wings. I think this podcast was likely formed via a Buffalo Wild Wings dinner with people 15 years ago. That's probably where it started. Just saying. And that's where we're going back because now that I'm in the card shop posting business again, I spent the weekend buying cards. I did this by going to lunch with somebody at Buffalo Wild Wings. And here is what I learned in this interaction is really getting back in the true buying cards grind for the first time in a while. This person, when they came into the store on Friday night, was like, you know, I have what I believe to be X value worth of cards. And I scanned them all in at some point in the past, and I don't have the list anymore, but it was this value. We're, okay, well, that's fine. We'll just go from there. Like, sort of give the sort of standard, like anything below this price is going to be considered bulk, and I can take it or not, but that's what it is. And then everything else. So by the time we were done working through that collection, what we both learned is that, and what I think surprised him as someone who hadn't really been in the game in a few years, is that the way Magic card values broke down is that he no longer had a bunch of $5 to $8 cards. His port towns were no longer $4 to $5 each. Instead, he had hundreds of bulk rare lands that used to be in that $3 to $5 range. And he had hundreds of cards that were $1.50. And while those all can add up on a spreadsheet, like essentially in the way they just spam so many Magic cards today, it's just bulk because there's just too much there to go through. It ends up in a dollar binder as much as you can get it. And it's the last priority because you either have a big ticket items or you have very small ticket items. At least it seemed to me where it kind of sat.
I don't think that, and I would love to see the data science on this, but I don't think that the middle class card is extinct, if that's what you're trying to say.
Not necessarily,
I think that there's just a lot more cards in the more recently printed eras that fill that space. And it's just the player perception is very skewed nowadays.
Well, and the idea that
Instead
a $3
rotation,
yeah, well, sorry, the idea that a $3 card, like, so this is the other thing I said to him. It's like, Well, look at it from my perspective as a vendor here with a booth. I have limited case space. While in the past, like while I do like selling $2 and $3 cards, at some point it is difficult to deal with them because they do just get thrown into a pre-con and then they're 50 cents again, and it's just this. Well, I mean that's fine for the if we get to that level for me, blah blah blah. That's all fine. But what I'm saying is it just kind of shows like that class of cards, like, and he had a bunch of, lands that used to be $5 to $7 and they were all just kind of bulk and they're going to be in another pre-con. Well, so even if they're $2, it's kind of like, That was my take.
I think that there's a different force acting on these than what it used to be. It used to be that your port towns would become worth a quarter because of rotation. Instead, now it's based on reprints because there is this demand outside of standard that exists in Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the $3 to $5 card, the $3 to $8 card range still exists. It's just cards from the last 4 years because I haven't hit the reprints yet.
Exactly. It's not,
or the commons and uncommons that have risen to the $3 to $5 range.
Right. What this person had
this week,
what this person had is a bunch of rares from the 5 to 10 years ago era of cards that used to be all worth some amount of money, and now they're just kind of not, and if you don't have a lot of it,
but if you
secret
were
lair
that
stuff was worth money
10 years ago, like if you're a player in the Shadows over Innistrad era and you also had cards that were good in standard in 2005 to 2006, you're also doing pretty poorly. Maybe not like an exact linear extrapolation, because
I agree.
A lot of the cards are like better or worse. Like if you have cranial extractions from Champions like Kamigawa and you're like selling them to a vendor during Cons of Tarkir, oops. Like if you have the Sensei's Tops and the Isochron Scepters and the Wastelands and you threaded the needle to manage to hit those like Balefire Lieges for your casual cards, or like they're the same paradigm happened. It's just you're 40 and your back hurts now, so it feels worse.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Everything feels worse.
Well, that's what I told him. It's in some ways it's a little easier, in some ways it's a little harder, because I used to really live by the idea of I need 20 botanical sanctums. That's a perfect example. I need 20 botanical sanctums in my case. Sometimes that card is $7, sometimes that card is $20 or $15, but it was always sort of a good hit to somebody who played in that era, right? Botanical Sanctum is a bulk rare, right? It's that kind of thing that sort of
nowadays
felt
that
bad.
Same card is Aetherflux Reservoir.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So to somebody who hadn't been seriously buying in a while, but really to this person who was coming back and had an idea of what their collection looked like, and then learned that it didn't look like that in 2025, was just an interesting reflection of where things are at, because the secret layers he had, thrilled to buy those. Had great numbers on them.
It's also tied to the specific utility that cards have, like mechanically unique cards, right? Yep. There are still expensive lands in standard. Multiversal Passage is like $6 to $10. Starting Town was $25 for a grip.
Yeah.
There's only so many ways to make an interesting land that isn't just more powerful than dual lands, right? Like there are only so many shapes that a land card can take, and they've done a pretty good job of coming up with a lot of them.
Well, they keep expanding what it can look like. Yeah.
They revisited fast lands. They made the Verges. I think the Verges are an awesome breaching into new territory.
Yeah.
I personally hate playing with them because you draw a hand with 2 Verges and you want to die, but that's okay.
Surveil
lands. Surveil lands I think are incredible design space. I think they're meaningfully stronger than Shock lands.
Double space stuff as well, of course.
Shock lands still sell for $10.
Yeah. It's one of those things where they need to reprint stuff eventually, and reprints are the things that kill price more than anything. More supply. Turns out, you boil it all down, it's just the 2 curves again. It's just supply and demand. You add more supply, demand increases for a bit, prices stay the same, demand dies down because not everyone needs Botanical Sanctums all the time. Prices are going to dip.
Well, and also people aren't buying 4 ofs. Like, people used to come in on a Friday night to the store, and they'd want to buy as much of their modern deck as they could get, and I could sell 12 copies of Botanical Sanctum in a night because they're going out 4 at a time. So it was important to have a stock. I wanted to, and I mean, in the case of Shock lands and Fetch lands, I still do, but I wanted to have a sort of a smaller pool of cards and have a lot of them, as opposed to now I just want all the cool secret layer printings I can get in the case to sell to people. And that's just a reflection of where it is. And it's sort of like the store owners we're talking about what events we can get people in to play Magic. And it's, I tell them, well, one, you don't always make a lot of money from events in the first place, but you do want to have them, obviously. But just for reference, there's a store that opened up like 2 years ago, and I was in there a couple weeks ago. They got 5 people to draft, including me and the TO, and there were 24 people playing casual Commander. So you just got to sell them other stuff.
Yeah.
Adapt or die.
Exactly. That's what I told them. Like, you never made a ton of money running a standard tournament at your store anyway, outside of the fact that you get to sell standard cards, which is why you want to do it. But if you're buying Commander cards, you're still selling cards to people using your table space. You still scan them in on the app. Like, at some point, people are still playing Magic, and it really sucks as someone who wants to draft. But it's a paradigm shift, because as long as you have people in there playing the game, theoretically, that's what you want. Well, there you go. That's we'll see how more of that. That's what I've been spending my time on for the last few weeks. It's been very busy and very fun. I get to involve my 9-year-old in checking out the store. He doesn't really remember my last store. It closed when he was 4, I guess, right before he turned 5.
So what you're saying is it's his fault?
No.
Yes.
No.
I think we chose to close down at the beginning of the pandemic, and
it's important to remind kids at that formative age that things are their fault, though.
Yeah, good point.
If you haven't told
blame
your kid
is real, and it is yours.
Yes. If you haven't told your kid about your divorce yet, please do, and do it loudly. Doesn't matter how old they are.
It's actually better if they're not in the room and you talk about it as if they're not there and they don't know. You're just like, oh my god, this fucking kid. That's the actual way to do it, to ensure that your kid grows up to be funny.
Well, or I have to say, do you know what song comes to mind when you all talk about this? Very popular song from my youth. The song Father of Mine by Everlast, one of those two.
Corbin.
Yes.
Shut up.
Why?
You Hank Williams loving mother. Don't bring new metal into this.
I don't know anything. I don't want to.
I really hope Everclear is new metal, otherwise I'm going to get cooked.
I don't want to step on any landmines here. I'm just saying, if that kid's parents had a fulfilling marriage, then he would not have written that famous song.
They are called a rock band on Wikipedia.
Was it Everclear?
I think they count as new metal. It's Everclear. Oh yeah, for sure, it's Everclear.
Everlast is also a band, right? And then
Everlong
is a song.
Fighters,
yeah, Everlong is a song. Yeah, that's the 3 that always mix me up. All right, well, it's a pretty eclectic cast here, but that's what we've got up with that, because in the Magic world, Spider-Man came, Spider-Man went, limited resources, retired it as a bit, and it's also not a bit, and that's the bit, and it's very funny.
I think we exist in this world now where we're post Final Fantasy and we're post Spider-Man, and no one's really sure what to make of it. But I think if you really look at both those two sets, you'll realize that they are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are both turds. One of them is polished to a mirror sheen, and one of them is just loose and sloppy and in your front yard.
Oh my gosh.
Like, one of those
the
sets
metaphors
was made with so much artistry, was made with so much love and care and attention, and people who didn't even like the franchise thought it was a pretty cool set. And the other one was a set made by committee, by management, by people who don't actually design cards for the most part. It seems. Spider-Man is not Final Fantasy, and Avatar will be neither of them. Turns out things are strictly different.
Strictly different has been called. Nothing is more divisive in the Magic community outside of... I don't have a lighthearted example, so I won't make a not lighthearted example. Nothing is more divisive than saying strictly in the Magic community.
Well, Strictly Different is a riff on the people who think that Strictly Better and Strictly Worse is a thing that actually exists and matters.
Ooh, there we go. You see? Opinions. They come out. What do you mean, though? Is a 2-mana disenchant strictly better than a 3-mana disenchant?
They're strictly different.
Oh, I agree. I really agree that the Magic community in 2025 is better off for that not being a key point of discussion in the community. You know, we talk these things. Yeah.
Do you remember there was an Innistrad limited GP?
Mm-hmm.
People in the comments on Twitch chat were freaking out about double face cards existing, saying it was going to ruin Magic.
Yes,
sure.
They were.
But on Twitter, it was like the Channel Fireball pros and like the dumbest people you've ever met arguing about, is it correct to use a Merfolk Looter when there are no cards in your hand?
Yeah.
And arguing the nuance of that for like 4 or 5 days.
Oh, yeah.
It started during the GP.
Yep. And
I remember reading
yeah.
every post about it.
And people would bully people if they weren't good at playing Brainstorm. Like, and I think it was, I don't remember, I think it was Brian Kibler who said, like, one of the things I most regret from my early Magic career is choosing my social circle based on their skill at Magic. And that was so incredibly rampant when I started playing the game competitively in like 2008 or so. People would literally go on Star City Games and get paid to write articles where they would bash their opponents for not being good at Magic. And that was a thing that earned you social credibility in the game. And are we really asking ourselves why the game is bigger in 2025 than it was then? Like, what are we doing?
Corbin, are you talking the Once You Go Black Sleeves Maker Star City games? Is that who you're talking about?
On a different topic, Brainstorm is a funny card to me because you know those graphs where it's like, lol, just cast Brainstorm, 0 experienced player, medium experienced player. It's like, well, actually, Brainstorm is really difficult to resolve. Sometimes you need to hold till turn 13 to make sure you get the Braincestral recall out of it with your fetch land. And then great players are like, I don't know, sometimes just cast Brainstorm on turn 1. The number of turn 1 Brainstorm on my opponent's and steps I've cast in the last 2 years is so much higher than it ever was. 1, because Legacy's a different format now. You don't have time to hold your Brainstorms for forever. But 2, man, I probably didn't cast Brainstorms like 100 times when I was supposed to for a decade.
Because you get bullied fully. This is such Levine Trench stuff we're describing here. Like, For those who don't know, we're going to do a better job at explaining things. Maybe JJ can put this up on screen. The oft-cited Levine Trench is an axis with one x-axis and one y-axis. And one of them is your skill at Magic. And the other is what kind of human being you are. And as it turns out, when you're really bad at Magic, you're generally a pretty nice person to interact with. And when you're like pretty good at Magic, you're a dick. And when you're a Hall of Fame level player, you're pretty chill again. But that's the Levine Trench. And you'll find that it holds true in a lot of cases across life.
Nothing makes someone miserable more than them having something to prove. An axe to grind is no friend of mine. I've been feeling wise lately because I've been watching a lot of Star Trek The Next Generation and listening to Jean-Luc Picard's monologues.
There we go. Yeah. What if, the only thing that could have been cooler is if he was there in Atlanta to reveal the Star Trek universe's beyond.
Well, so the Star Trek cast for decades now have been the kind of people who go to cons, right? Like, they invented the idea of actors going to cons to sign stuff. Do you think when there's eventually a Magic Con for Star Trek, they're going to have, like, John Delancey goes to everything. That he's the actor who played Q. Do you think that they're going to have, like, the cast at one of these cons? Personally, I think a signing line with, like, any number of the cast. I mean, the original series cast is also old at this point. I don't think they'd be able to, very many of them would be able to make it out, but, like, I don't know.
Are Magic players going to be very unpleasantly surprised when they find out what every other industry charges for signatures?
I have a lot of thoughts there. On the one hand, you're like, I don't know. On the other hand, what are you doing these crossovers for, if not that?
Dude, John Delancey went to BronyCon because he voice acted a character in one of the seasons. That dude would go to a Magic Con. If they paid him a couple grand, I'm sure he'd show up. He loves that.
then it would be.
And I would stand in line and pay him $100 like a little piggy to sign my 5-color Q legendary creature because that's who I am.
And you may also, if you can pay enough of them to be there, because you have the benefit of the crossover, you can break off a tiny % of the MagicCon budget to get a larger number of them there. Well, now you might also be able to sell one-day tickets to Star Trek people who are then introduced to, hear me out here, Magic the Gathering. Like, I don't know. It seems like that's the point. In fact, Mark Rosewater put up a post the other day, and it feels like Mark Rosewater, if you follow his
According to Reddit,
posts,
Mark Rosewater is the greatest snake oil salesman and liar and deceiver of all time.
Well, if you follow his Blogatog posts, it feels like the man is slowly going crazy. He invents new ways every day to try to describe to people the Universes Beyond is both popular and profitable and not killing Magic, and in fact liked by a vast majority of players. And you just reads like a man who's going crazy trying to ram his head into a wall repeatedly. But one of the things he said was, yes, crossovers are happening. They are popular. We are doing them because they are popular and players like them. Also, they are happening across all of media because they are popular. And while we can get into, there's some corporate ownership stuff, blah, 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 blah,
but
blah.
Corbin,
in a lot of ways, Wizards is going
slop?
Outside of that.
Corbin, but I said the word slop.
No. I prefer dung beetle and
it's really funny. I'll address the pigs and slop post directly. It's really funny because, like, the guy who made that post is someone who I actually know and, like, am friendly with, and we talk Legacy all the time. And that post to me is true proof that 1 ounce of energy put towards something you love is worth 1,000 tons of energy put towards something you hate. Because, like, that dude makes some of the best decks in Legacy. Like, he is brilliant when it comes to that stuff. I personally think so. I mean, I played a riff of his deck last year at Eternal Weekend. I don't know. More of us should just focus on the things that we love.
Exactly. I also want to, this is maybe, I don't want, but the whole premise of the post is that this is what it feels like as a competitive player. Okay, so I don't want to get into the pigs, the slop, all of that stuff, right? The premise of the post was this is what it is like as a competitive player. He then goes on to decry as things that he is upset that are being removed as the block storytelling. And it's like, that is not a competitive player complaint, man. And it's just, so it's not even it's not like, if you have, there are complaints to make as a competitive player, and you got so many eyes on it. And I don't know if these people lived in a time where sometimes a pro would write a paid article on Star City Games as a direct response to something Wizards was doing. And as a result of having to put their name on it and having to put a publisher's name on it, it couldn't just be pigs and slop doesn't get through the editor at Star City Games. What you end up with is an actual nuanced, reasonable critique or feedback or something that actually moves the things forward, as opposed to things that are just sort of like, it was just throwing everything at the wall, because you can't like complain about the PPTQ system and then say blocks are the problem. Like, there was so many things with that it stirred up everywhere in the community without even getting into sort of like the meta level of how people received it.
The real problem with a lot of this discourse, and I think with that post too, is it is largely an emotional response. I am someone who's been a competitive player for a long time, and I think it does kind of suck that there are parts of it being eroded and that there are parts of it that don't exist anymore. And I think that there are certainly crossovers happening that I don't like. Personally, I'm someone who really likes to take things in stride and accept things for what they are rather than try and fight battles that are unwinnable. But I think for a lot of these people, these are people who are very rooted in like logic and reason, people who want to solve problems by iterating. And they're experiencing this really emotional response to something they love being stripped down slowly over time. Because it is. Competitive play is being torn down. Not necessarily because Universes Beyond exists, but for a myriad of other reasons too. And they're trying to pose this emotional response as something very logical, when it's a little bit of both. There's a little bit of of this. Here's what made Magic wonderful in my eyes, and here's what's destroying it now, when those two things aren't necessarily always connected. And I think that if people step back, they assess what actually is bothering them, and they focus in on that, like Corbin's saying, focus on the actual issue that's bothering them. But that's not how the internet works these days. Everything is just a mudslinging fest, right?
We don't wait a week for the article on Star City Games with a name we trust to like. So Luis Scott Vargas put out an article a couple months ago about Vivi, and it was exactly what I'm talking about. It was a super nuanced, reasonable. Here are the issues. Here's what Wizards could do. Here are some of the things leading to it. And it's exactly, and it got a lot of traction. And it's like, that used to be the norm. Now the norm is whatever someone fires off in their notes app and then posts to the internet. And because the algorithm selects for outrage, the pigs in slot post gets literally 500,000 views on it because people want to argue over the analogy. In addition, that gets mixed in with anybody who wants to have an actual conversation, with anyone who then actually wants to address the nuances of that conversation. And it's just, yeah, I mean, it's just, for better or worse, it is what we live in. And it makes, I think, things difficult to move forward because, like, what is Wizards going to do but go with the market data, which is, to Mark Rosewater's point, he says this is what players tell us we like. So that's what we're going to keep doing.
Unfortunately, often the most profitable thing is not the most artful thing.
The most profitable thing, though, that's breaking bulk.
Breaking bulk time.
Corbin, what is breaking bulk?
Breaking bulk is a segment where the three of us, that's myself, Corbin, DJ, and Cass, we make each other guess cards in a game with very loose rules, where the idea is you will find a card in your bulk, or that we receive in bulk when people sell to us, that is in fact not bulk. And the point of this, while I want to square this with what we talked about at the beginning, where as a vendor, we talk about anything being, $1 to $2, basically kind of being a bulk area. This is what we pull out and sell on to buy lists. Like, this is what came up in this conversation at B-Dubs. Shout out, please sponsor us. He asked, is it worth it to do anything with this? And I said, I mean, it's up to you. For me, it's worth it as a second monitor activity to pick bulk while I'm watching Netflix and put it on a buy list to Card Kingdom and get 30 cents on my 90 cents card, if you have 8 hours to sit down and do that, or 4 hours, right? If you have a large chunk of time to knock out a buy list and you feel good about that, then yeah, that's worth it. But I can't, it's how you value your time, right?
I value my time at whatever the rate is that prevents us from getting a Buffalo Wild Wings sponsorship. And instead of a Buffalo Wild Wings sponsorship, would you rather hear us talk about gross, overpriced wings, or would you rather hear us talk about MTGBan.com? MTGBan is the premier Magic the Gathering financial nexus website / Patreon offerings, where you can get all of the data. You can get so much data. You can get more data than you can shake a stick at. I don't know if that's still a thing people use nowadays. But
okay,
you
Grandpa.
can use that data to get more money to buy shares in Buffalo Wild Wings, and then complain to Corbin when he doesn't increase the stock price based on his total consumption alone. So, MTG Ban is a subscription service where you can get 50% off your first month by using BSB50 at checkout on Patreon. BSB50, that is BSB50, get 50% off your first month. They also have a free trial, so you can just kind of try it out for a couple weeks. They have a Discord server with a lot of very smart vendors in there. I don't think Corbin's posted in there yet, so you can get in while the getting still good, and then you can use BSB50, and there's a bunch of different tiers you can pay for depending on how much information you want and how much hours you are putting into Magic. If you put in a small amount of hours, you can give them a small amount of money, or if you do what I do, you can have the highest level tier, and that's just all I've been doing since I found out about Ban. I gave them the most money possible, and you get so much data, so like CSV export, spreadsheets on sealed product. Just play around with it with a free trial, and then use our membership code. You will thank us later. And if you want to thank me now, you can listen to my Bring Bulk, which is, I'm going to name a card attribute, and there's a few cards about this. This is a Warhammer 40k multicolor card. It's a rare. So Corbin's just cooked. Corbin is like more cooked than a Buffalo Wild Wing, which is not hard to do.
Is it Exalted Zemer of Sinch or whatever? The blue-red?
No, it is not. I'm gonna give you a little bit more information about this. It's a commander card.
It's black red.
It's a creature. It is a enemy colored card.
Is it the blue-green rare that gives all your creatures evolve? I'm trying to think of what's cheap in that set, because there's not a lot of things in that set that are actually like really cheap.
I don't even know what cards are in that set.
Card retails for like around $3.
Oh, is it? It's the black white. I'm trying to think of the cards in the start deck.
This card used to be $1 earlier this year, and now it is like climbing to $4.
Is it the Sisters, like the black white with Miracle? Maybe
it is a black white card. It does not have Miracle. It is a creature though.
God, that there's just so many.
It's a commander card.
Oh, it's the captain. He's like holding a knife out in front. It's a black, white, and a colorless. I don't remember the text on the card because there's
Captain
a bunch of cards that do the same.
If by black, white, colorless you mean 3 mana, no, not 3 mana.
Is he 4 mana? Is he black, white too?
There it is.
I know the art. It's like a guy wearing like a Nazi hat, holding a sword out.
I don't know if there's a Nazi hat involved, but he is holding a sword out. I think you're close enough. We'll see.
I don't know the text.
Company Commander is a 4 mana 2/4. It's not the legendary. This card's not legendary.
It's not legendary. Okay. No. Yeah.
But it is 4 mana black white 2/4. When it enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 white soldiers equal to the number of opponents you have. So you usually get 3. And then whenever it attacks, creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. So you can get a lot of Myriad style triggers, a lot of different combat stuff going on. Very good in decks like is it Caesar, the Fallout guy? Caesar. Card has slowly increased in value, much like I think most of the Warhammer 40k cards will continue to do so. Pretty hard to reprint. I mean, we talked last week. We're still a mile away from any sort of like universes within Masters where they just take a swath of UB cards and reprint them in the universe with names. Company Commander is just a nice little flicker ETB. You can bounce it in several times. Great colors to do so. Bring it back with reanimation stuff. You're going to get that value. All the Soul Sisters triggers, whatever you're doing there. I used to play Sengir Autocrat in Savra Lady of Golgari, or Queen of Golgari. That's an old one that is not aged well, but Company Commander is certainly a 2022. Yes, Warhammer 40k Wex were almost 3 years ago. It is a 2022 card that it does a lot. It slices, it dices each of your opponents when it attacks all of them, gives all your stuff Death Touch, and I would not be surprised to see this in the $5 to $10 range a year from now. Yeah. It's crept up. It's going to keep creeping up. It does a somewhat unique, like ETB token making is not a unique thing, but ETB make 3 tokens is quite powerful, especially when you're doing things like Phyrexian Altar.
Giving all of your creatures Death Touch is so powerful.
Yeah.
All right.
I was thinking of Commander Severina was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But you know what I was also thinking of is this Zendikar Rising Blue Uncommon.
Is it the crab?
It's
is it good old Ruin Crab?
No.
I'm trying to think. Zendikar Rising, did that have the lands, right? Yeah, so is it like lands. Dwari Disruption?
It's Dwari Disruption. Corbin got that one because he covered the PT, in which Belcher won. Dwari Disruption, for those not in the know, is a blue and a colorless on the front side. For an instant that says counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. On the backside, it's a come into play tapped land that taps for blue. This card is... All the MDFCs are obviously strong. This one is one of the key ones in the Belcher deck. Obviously, it comes in tapped, but the front side effect is strong enough that you can actually buy yourself a turn with it. Card is quarter, TCG low, has a buy list for 20 cents.
Myroka does pull this out. My Myroka threshold is set to 40 cents. Also, for those who don't know, if you might be new to Magic from Final Fantasy or something like that, when we say MDFC, that is a fancy way to say modal double-faced card. There are a lot of cards that have different effects. You can play them as either card. So like all the Final Fantasy stuff, it's like you play the creature, then it does the thing and transforms. There are a lot of cards from Magic's history where it's just either card. You can play it as the front side, the back side. So this is A land, or B, a counterspell. You cannot just play both. It doesn't turn into a counterspell on the board. It is just a split card, effectively. You can play either one. And it's weird with Belcher, because if you've read Goblin Char Belcher, you get to flip your whole deck and kill them.
All right, there you go. Okay, I have one this week, and I will warn you both. It is a trick question. This is from Spider-Man.
Is that it?
It's something about Spider-Man. Commons and uncommons.
So it's a common or
There's the just every
That's not how
card
the game
on the
works.
bonus sheet or whatever. Like
This game has no rules.
that's
DJ's
so it's
closest.
something in the Spider-Man
DJ's
set.
close.
It's probably
DJ
on the
is very
bonus
close.
sheet.
DJ is very close.
it's just like every card in the Eternal Spider-Man Eternal
Yeah.
or something. Like every card
False.
in the Precon.
It is the opposite of that. There are no commons and uncommons worth anything in Spider-Man, the regular set. Fun fact.
That's
We're
your
talking about the
Breaking Ball.
Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
That's your Breaking Bolt, Corbin?
There's nothing in the entire set.
Chat, let's kill this guy with hammers.
Is that crazy though? When's the last time we've had a set with literally nothing worth pulling? The top market price on any common or uncommon in the entire set is 33 cents, and it's a land.
I mean, this...
It's an
we are
interesting
in...
data point. You should still die by the sword.
I understand.
I agree with that.
It was a trick question.
Just think about it this way, Corbin. How many copies of Tandem Mouse with the artist Oogsman are there in print? For those who don't know, that's a
Hundreds of
Pokemon card
thousands?
illustrated by an artist who all of his Illustrator Rare, like all of the ultra rare versions of cards he's made have spiked in price recently, but not the common, because there are so many of them. When a product is primarily engaged with by collectors,
Yeah.
the commons are worthless because so much of it gets open chasing your special Illustrator Rare Spider-Man 4
Yep.
featuring Alfred Molina. That why would you ever pay anything for a common? They're going to throw them out anyways. You have 100 of them already because you bought 1,000 boxes. This is collector era. We are in a different world.
I mean, it is true that stock up is $10, but that's what I mean. It's all or nothing, right? Like,
That's what I'm saying is like,
yeah.
nobody opened Aether Drift except for people who really love Magic or needed to
need
open
the
stock
cards.
ups.
Yeah, need the cards, yeah. And basically no one opened it, and then they realized 2 months later they needed stock ups, and everyone just paid a bunch of money for stock ups.
Yep.
Yep. All right, well, there you go. That's
Wait, Corbin.
wait, he says.
To answer your question more thoroughly about, or not to answer your question because your question was bullshit. You should, but like to compare to Final Fantasy, which I think we can both agree is also a collector set opened by collectors or people who open thousands of boxes. The most expensive common or uncommon non-foil card in that set is $9, and that is one of the versions. It's one of the SIDs. There's a. I know, but like I'm gonna go down and like there's a bunch of SIDs. There's a bunch of SIDs that are all worth money because there are just so many different printings of them. And then once we get to the bottom of all the SIDs, the next most expensive common uncommon is Black Waltz number 3, the extended art, which just has VV on it, which is another like collector aspect of it. It's like probably one of the few cards in the set that has little VV looking thing. I mean, maybe it's not VV, but it looks like VV, so I'm going to say it's VV. And that card is $3. If Final Fantasy was opened less, that card would be worth like $15 because of just the demand for Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, that card also is very playable in competitive formats in which people are willing to pay $3 for an uncommon.
Yes.
And like,
Also, wrecked me in Commander.
sure. I think it's not playing Modern too at the PT.
And like
It's
once you
pretty
get
good.
past a couple other cards in Final Fantasy, most of the commons and uncommons are also dirt cheap.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. The bulk has been broken.
I have a special treat for all of our listeners today. mostly for the listeners who subscribe to the Patreon at patreon.com/BSB, because they're going to be listening to this on Wednesday.
Yeah, go grab
The Wednesday before Eternal Weekend. To the average person who's not subscribed, it's Friday at the earliest. Friday of Eternal Weekend, in probably like round 3 of the Vintage Champs. I'm going to tell everybody what my deck is. I'm going to leak the tech early.
Let's
as
go.
I think me and another esteemed Eternal Magic player, Jay Wojciechowski, have broken the format together. Breaking Vintage is something I've always dreamed of doing. I am playing 4-color Oath of Druids, splashing red for Underworld Breach. I put 2 Underworld Breaches and a Brain Freeze in the Oath deck because 1, Oath of Druids mills you, and lets you have these powerful Fair Breach turns, but 2, it can win games that Oath of Druids normally cannot. I believe that putting it into the deck solves all of the matchups except for Doomsday. So look forward to the hot tech. I can share the list in the voice text channel. We can put it up on on the screen if you want, for those listening on Wednesday, those who subscribe to the Patreon. And
This
so in the
deck
future,
sounds like it would make my brain hurt.
oh, it's so incredibly powerful. It's got Show and Tell, Oath of Druids, 4 Atraxas, Flash. You play Flash. You can play 1 Flash in Vintage. And you can look forward to me and Jay splitting the finals of North American Vintage Championships. And if we scrub out, do not bring it up to me because I will crash out.
I like the confidence. I'm looking forward to watching it. I've actually never got to go to Eternal Weekend.
That's a tragedy. It's the best tournament every year.
I don't know. Maybe next year. But I would like to.
I want to see you bring Merfolk to a Vintage tournament.
It won Vintage Champs at one point, 15 years ago.
A lot of things won Vintage at one point.
All right, everybody. Before we get out of here this week, of course, we want to leave you with something to make money on while you're not listening to this show. And that's why you get our picks of the week, so you never forget.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
All right, DJ, start us off. What are you looking at this week?
So, I barely played Magic back during Lorwyn. I technically played. I owned Magic cards and I knew how to put them on the battlefield and attack with them, but I wasn't an enthusiast, right? And I think that we are going to see a large resurgence of Magic's enthusiasts from the day. I think Lorwyn is going to be a very, very good set. I've said that already in this podcast before. What I haven't said on this podcast before, what is brand new information to your ear holes, is that I think Ona, Queen of the Fae, is a very good pick right now. I think that most of them have been reprinted. What? Corbin, you're what?
How do I hold up? I don't want to do it wrong, but the scene in the Quentin Tarantino movie where you give yourself away is that one. That one. It's got to be Una, right? It's got to be Una.
It is Una, but
Instead of Ona?
I thought I was crazy for a moment.
I knew it was Una, but I didn't stop him because he was on a roll, and I just couldn't bear to break his heart.
Yeah, but this is a classic.
Coming to us from Botanical Sanctum.
No, this.
You wanna fucking tussle?
I don't want to let DJ's Scourge Mormont go unnoticed because that is classic BSB lore that deserves to be added to.
DJ
Carry
being
on.
like, "You want to go, big man? You want to go?" is really, really delightful.
If Corbin thinks he can take a cow, he should be scared of me. Let's put it that way.
I don't want to fight anybody, man. I'm a guy who would talk, and then when someone wants to fight, I'd be like, "Whoa, man, you want to fight me? Why would you want to fight me?"
I'm a little birthday boy.
Corbin's a full-on Jerry, that's for sure. Corbin is 100%
But that's the thing, man.
Jerry from
Is you
Rick and
can't take
Morty.
me. But the flip side of that is I'm never actually going to get mad and try to fight you. You know, you don't. You don't have to worry about that with me.
That's right.
Corbin's got a little George Costanza in him, and I respect that.
Carry on, DJ.
Ona has a secret Layar printing
It does.
that is from over 5 years ago. This card, its original secret lair printing was in the International Women's Day Secret Lair, which was 5 years ago, and that version is $6. And if you want a pretty version of this card, that is currently the only version you can get that is not a like a Shadowmoor foil, which I don't think most people joining Magic who don't have familiarity with Lorwyn care about. And also, it's going to be like insanely hard to find actually clean copies of that card. The Secret Lair one, very pretty, very cool. Comes in foil. I think that this is a very, very good pick. If you are the kind of person who wants to buy like 200 of something, first of all, go buy Rice. And second of all, buy the bulk rare versions of Ona, because as we were talking about before, this is one of those cards that Corbin's like cowboy boots wandered into the LGS with a tumbleweed, like, oh, I have my $3 Onas, and then they're like, wait, this card is 15 cents? It is 15 cents, TCG low, because it was in Original Modern Masters, it was in Wilds of Eldraine Commander, it was in Zendikar Rising Commander, because it makes rogues, and that was a rogue. Rouges. Sure. It makes rouges. And like, this card is very, very affordable. So if you can find somebody that has quantity, just buy a brick of them. Just be like, I will take 100 of these, or get the Secret Lair version, or buy both. I think there's decent odds this card is on some kind of bonus sheet, but I also don't think it matters.
That's a very good pick in my opinion. I actually do have one of these sitting in the store, and it looks really good. And I was shocked that it was so cheap. And to DJ's point, it's climbed like less than $1, but it is climbing in that. Like, I think it's a great pick heading into Lorwyn.
You want to know how I found this card? MTG Band. They have a tab that is called Sleepers, which just uses a bunch of different data to find cards that either like climbed out of bulk or have gone a long time without a reprint, or cards where TCG low is different than TCG market. They have a bunch of different features on here. I don't use the Sleepers tab as often. I'm mainly using this for like spreadsheet manipulation and like weird collection buying things. But if you are somebody who is just more of an armchair speculator, the Sleepers tab on MTG Band might be for you. It is how I have found a lot of my picks of the week recently, because that's just a really easy way to find cards that might spike soon. I don't think every card on the sleeper sheet is like, oh, you should buy all of these. You should apply some form of logic and reasoning, but it is really, really nice at filtering down the pool to cards you think you might care about.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
From the opposite side of the spectrum of bulk rares that might see play again soon because of increased interest, I'm going with a mythic rare for Modern Horizons 3 that is at the peak of its popularity.
Let's go.
I'm going with Ocelot Pride.
Modern. I heard Modern Masters 3, so I'm just a moron. That's fair.
Ocelot Pride
You're perfect.
I was like, Modern Masters 3. There's like no cards in that set that matter. Like, what? Yeah. No, yeah. You're correct. I agree.
Ocelot Pride is starting to make a real footprint in Legacy, which, barring a ban, means this is the kind of card that will be an issue in Modern for a long time. This card is unbelievably powerful. The combination of it plus Guide of Souls, super strong. Even if Guide of Souls got the axe, I think this card still sees play in some number of shells. The fact that this has such good synergy with the Ajani Flip Planeswalker. The card's $40, which is a lot, but this is the kind of thing where if you want your playset, I don't know if it gets much cheaper. Like, obviously MH3 is still kind of available, but who really cares about MH3 when you could be opening
There's a movie called
Universes Beyond,
it's pretty funny.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, I don't know.
Hilarious.
Whatever's coming in 2028 or whatever, right?
Yeah. I think that this is a good pick also for the sense that this was sort of my takeaway on Boros Energy, which did not perform super well at the Pro Tour. In some ways, I believe that Solitude is holding down creature decks in Modern, which as a result leads to everybody playing combo decks. It is also true that Boros Energy, the last fair creature deck in the format, and which is very good, in some ways is not the deck that everyone like remembers it as. Like, it boards into Wraths. It gets slow. It does this thing where it goes Ocelot Pride, like sort of this core of Ocelot Pride, a Johnny Voice of Victory is huge for making extra tokens. And then Goblin Bombardment, like that engine is, in a lot of the games I watched, that was like the power of the deck. It wasn't I play these energy cards and guide, like sometimes your Guide of Souls gets there or whatever, but a lot of times it's like Guide of Souls on the same turn you attack with Voice of Victory so that you can get double triggers to trigger Halia, the life gain Soul Sister out of Edge of Eternities so that you can draw your card on the inside. And it became these like token combo decks almost, more so than this like red-white aggro deck. So on that note, Ocelot Pride looks really good.
You also
that,
really
if you
weird
see
data on this
evolutions
card
like
that I just saw on ban right now. And yeah, you can take a drink every time I say ban this podcast. That's fine. And you can also do it while you're driving. You have my permission.
Whoa.
We're censored, demonetized.
The TCG low on the non-foil, the regular old missionary position Ocelot Pride, is $34. Card Kingdom pays $36. So if you are somebody who finds this card on like a Facebook group for $30, you can just get a free $5 right there. That is a McDonald's meal for you, courtesy of Ocelot Pride.
Not anymore. McDonald's meals are like $9, brother.
You can get like 2 things off the value menu. It's
the
fine.
dollar menu.
The dollar menu? Okay, old
It's
man.
not a dollar.
Ooh,
You live in
okay,
Seattle.
boomer.
Your perception's warped. Corbin can get things a McDonald's meal. You can't.
All right.
Card Kingdom pays, and TCG low for the foil was the same price because this is 2025.
Yeah.
Card Kingdom pays $22 for the foil.
Yeah.
So that's a very succinct way to say that. That's a very long way to say the succinct version of saying this is foils are not good anymore.
Well,
There's
this is the thing.
not-
I wanted to
there's
bring
not
this up
velocity.
earlier. You all were talking about original set foils being worth money of stuff. And I had a thought that, like, you're right. However,
It depends on the card.
but listen,
Yeah.
at what year did you have to start playing Magic to not even have a conception of OG set foil being the cool version of a card?
Eldraine.
If you started playing Magic in 2023, you don't even know that that's supposed to be the cool version.
True.
The secret layers are the cool version.
Very true.
That was my thought.
That's a good point. Because
Yeah.
that goes far back. That's Eldraine. Like, original Eldraine was the death of original foils, because that was the first era we got collector boosters. That
And
was
it
the
also
first-
goes in, and also there's so many new cards, there's so much churn that the idea of investing in the OG foil and playing it forever, that's just not how it works. So, like, there's just all kinds of things that make foils just like, well, unless it's a secret layer, I don't care. Or a special printing, like.
And yeah, that's the thing, because the best version of a foil is usually still good. The best version of the foil is usually
Right.
still good long term. Like Confetti, Ristic Study, the borderless foil Ocelot Pride is over $100 and has a lot of staying power over the past 2 years that card's been in existence. Like,
So, for
there
instance,
is a lot of precedence.
OG set foil, the Great Hinge. This is a thing I thought of as like a sort of a peak thing here. The market price on the regular one is $68. The market price on the foil is $77.
Yeah.
And then there's multiple versions, like say foil the Party Tree is almost $200.
And that one used to be 2,000 before they neutered the Surge foil issue.
Yep.
So just something to keep in mind. I mean, there's multiple versions of the Great Hinge that just as a special printing are worth more. So yeah, and interesting. Just a data point. I'll finish with my pick of the week here. It's a secret lair in itself, and it's one that's been climbing recently, just a little bit, that is. But at its bottom, when Edge of Eternities came out, it was $12. More recently, it's climbed from about $14 to $15. But Deadpool, the trading card,
Yeah.
like,
The card's strong.
we're kind of like, we haven't talked about this much, but like whatever, maybe the reason some of us had posited that perhaps the spring set that was unannounced, Universes Beyond, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles related, just sort of a theory I've seen going around. What if it's just not spoiling MCU stuff? But that was just the thought I had, that there's if perhaps the reason it's not unannounced is maybe they are announcing it at a later date, but maybe it's related to some kind of story in some sort of universe that they're lining up. It's just a thought. Anyway,
Deadpool trading card has dropped roughly 20% since it came out in April. The card, again, it's very easy to know when this card came out because it was an April 1st Secret Lair. But, yeah, it came out around $15. It's now down to around 12 or 13, and it's... I don't dislike this. Card is weird. Card is legal.
It's climbed a few dollars in the past month, and it, or rather, at least since its low point. But yeah, I think it's just whatever point, the aside there, whether they end up doing an X-Men set now or not, Marvel hype and Deadpool getting introduced into the MCU further, none of these things are going to hurt the value of the Deadpool card, which, by the way, is also like a dual commander or CDH thing or something.
This it's really important to check velocity on stuff like this, which you can find on Ban. When you click the TCG player link in Ban, you just click a little button on TCG Low or TCG Market or whatever, and then you click the View More Data on the TCG player page, and 5 Deadpools have sold today, 4 sold yesterday, like 7 or 8 sold 2 days ago. Like, the card, that is a lot of velocity for a Magic card. That's a lot. And 20, I think 20 is a really tough break point for reasons we've discussed previously, weirdness with TCG Direct. But I don't hate buying this at 12 or 13 and it going to 20. And if we do get some form of additional Marvel stuff over the past next year or so, who knows, man? We have $700 Sephiroths when the card's hot. We continue to get crazy Magic cards and even more just players. There's so many players. We've said this 1,000 times. We have talked more about how many players there are in Magic than there are players in Magic. But yeah, I don't disagree with any of this. And you can find our picks when Corbin puts them down on the spreadsheet. We do record all of our picks of the week and mention them when we pick them. So if you don't feel like writing it down, if you're a Patreon subscriber at the $10 and up level, $10 a month, it's like $2 an episode or something like that. You can go to the spreadsheet and be like, oh, that's what Corbin picked last week. I still have time to get out on that, because it also tells you the price it was when we picked it. So
there you go.
Lots of ways to make money in Magic and make the game more affordable for you.
Go check us out at patreon.com/BSB. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you to DJ and Cass. As always, Cass had to jet out to catch a flight. Safe travels. So everybody, thank you for listening to the show. We'll see you next week on Brainstorm Brewery.